you have no business getting an air fryer. There's actually an unspoken list that you need to have, and you need to buy things in a certain sequence that makes sense. So you're moving into a new space and you're wondering, what do I need to get? It's been a couple of months since I moved into my new space, and trust me, I have made the mistakes. I've bought things I did not need. I have done it before, and I feel like that makes me qualified to tell you exactly what you need in your kitchen, because sometimes what you think you need is not what you actually need. It's just a want. Because baby, you do not need an air fryer before you buy a fridge or a stove. You don't. So in this video, I'm going to break it all down for you. The essential things you need for your first kitchen or setting up your kitchen. What is a need? What is a want? What is just vibe? Because when you are moving out for the very first time, we are choosing survival over aesthetics. When I moved here, to be very honest with you, I did not plan as much as I should. So I thought that I had all the things I needed. And to be very honest with you, I have them in Kumasi. But moving them here was very, very expensive and very, very time consuming. So I was like, you know what? I've been able to move a few things. Let me buy the rest of the things I need. And so when I started buying, I didn't really plan it out, or I didn't even have it in mind that I needed to buy things in a certain sequence. Because tell me why I bought a stove before a fridge, and then I was cooking and my food was going bad, and I was cooking and I had to be cooking every single day in smaller quantities because there was no fridge to keep the food. And so because I have learned from my mistakes, and I have learned that even though there's no plan on how to buy these things, there's actually an unspoken list that you need to have, and you need to buy things in a certain sequence that makes sense. Because there's no way you're buying an air fryer, you're buying a fancy equipment you don't need before you buy the ones you actually need. Like a stove and a fridge is a no-brainer. So I have divided it into two sections. Number one is absolute essentials. You need these things because you cannot survive without them. So in my experience, I'm going to put fridge as number one. Let me explain. So fridge is number one because fridge is not only used to keep the things you're going to cook. So you can keep your water, your drinks, if you buy yogurt, if you buy fruits. So even if you're not cooking, there are so many things you can store in your fridge. One of the mistakes I made is that I bought a stove before a fridge. I actually bought a lot of things before a fridge, and it was very, very stressful for me. I was actually targeting a particular type of fridge, which I did not have in my budget. So I was like, you know what, let me wait it out. Maybe I'll get the money. But at some point I was like, Bibiana, just go and buy the fridge. So I had to go and buy the fridge. But I would say that a fridge is one of the most important things you should get very, very first on. Someone who is a chef and who loves homemade food, I decided I was going to be cooking home most of the time. And so I would go out there, I'll shop, I'll buy ingredients, and most of them will go bad. Or I'll cook and then I'll have leftovers and have to reheat it and reheat. And you know that reheating food changes the taste of the food. And at some point, I wouldn't even want to eat it anymore. And so fridge is number one. You can use it to store a lot of things. Fridge has a lot of purposes outside just cooking. And so in my opinion and in my experience, buying a fridge first is so important. Number two is a gas stove or a gas burner. Of course, if you're going to be doing a lot of cooking, you need to get a gas stove. So you can either get an electric gas stove, or you can get a gas one. The one I use is a gas. And when you get a gas, obviously you need a cylinder because that is what the gas is going to be kept in. So let's say a cylinder and a gas stove if you're going to be cooking a lot. If not, maybe you can do other things. But then why would you get all the other things if you're not going to be cooking? You don't need cookware if you're not going to be cooking. So a gas stove and a cylinder. Number two, you need them, absolute essentials. Number three is a water source or storage. Of course, if you're living in an apartment that has pipe, then you have water coming in. But Accra would humble you. Tell me why I was living in this house and for 3 weeks there was no water. And I had not bought a water storage, so I had to be climbing up and down every single day. I'm on the top floor. I had to be climbing down every single day to go down and fetch water from the tank. And so get a container that are going to put water in. Even if water is coming every day, you never know when Accra will shock you. Now, let's talk basic utensils. I know a lot of you, especially the men, will come to your house and you don't even have a spoon. You don't even have a ladle. You don't even have a knife. Please, no. No, if I come to the house and you don't have those things, we are going shopping right there and then. We are going shopping because you can't believe it and you don't have a spoon. You don't have even one cookware, one bowl in your house. That is what we are doing in this video. After this video, get up, create a list. There'll be a checklist inside the description that you can download so that you can go and just shop with that list. Okay, so let's talk basic utensils. Please, you need a knife. you need a knife. At least, even one knife is not enough, because you need a bread knife, you need a cutting knife, just get a knife in your house. Okay, ladles for scooping, for stirring, for dishing out food. You need a ladle, okay, or you need ladles. Sometimes when you go and shop, you get a utensil set. There's a knife, there are ladles, all those things are inside, so you don't even need to buy them one. So here's an example of a utensil set. When you buy this, you get everything. You get knives, you get ladles, you get all these things that you can use for dishing out your meals, turning your food, scooping your food, dishing out, all that. So you don't need to buy them one. You also need a chopping board. Gone are the days where we'll be chopping on our hands like this, on our finger like that. That is our mothers. They are skilled. If you try that, you're gonna chop off your fingers. So please get a chopping board. You can get a wooden chopping board, a plastic chopping board. Either of them is fine. Just go to China Mall or Melcom. You get plenty of that. Cutlery, okay. You need to have a spoon, a knife, a fork. At least have a spoon in your house. And just like the utensil, when you buy a cutlery set, you get all those things in there, okay? Now, plates, cups, and bowls. If I come to your house and you don't have cup, please, like, how are you drinking water? Always from the bottle. So you need glasses, you need plates, you need bowls, and all these things. You don't need to buy like a whole set of them. Just 2 of each. If you're living alone, it's fine, okay? They have a set where you get the bowls, you get the glasses, and you get the plates as well. Now let's talk cookware. You cannot use all these things without cookware. If you're going to be cooking, of course you're going to be cooking in the bowl. So you can get either a non-stick cookware, a stainless steel, cast iron. That one depends on your discretion. If you guys want me to do a video on which of the cookwares are the best, or based on my experience, which ones I would recommend, let me know in the comments and I'll do a video on that. But you need a cookware, something you're going to be cooking in, and they also come in sets. Sometimes when you buy a set, you can get a frying pan, you can get a cooking bowl, you can get a skillet. There are different sets in those boxes that they sell. You can get one of those. Don't choose aesthetics over functionality. Mind you, we are now setting up the space. We don't have luxury for all the luxurious and aesthetic things. You are buying something you're going to be using, so make sure that when you are buying, you do your research and you check if it's something that is good for you to use and it can last you a long time. Now I'm going to talk to you about the second list, which is nice to have but not urgent. I know some of you were waiting for me to mention a blender. I love a blender. I always have a blender on me. But then I feel like all the things I mentioned, you need to buy them before you buy a blender. Because if nothing at all, you can grind with a potoiwa. Our mothers have been grinding for ages. Nothing happened to them. But once you've been able to buy all the things I have mentioned, I think a blender is the next thing you need to buy. For blending and all of that, blender is good. But I don't think it's like, if you don't have it, you can't survive kind of thing. Then a microwave. So I bought my microwave later on. I think I bought my microwave in my fridge. It's not like if it's not there, you can't survive, but it also makes life very very easy. Like anytime you want to heat food, you just carry it and you go and microwave it. But if you don't have it, when I didn't have a microwave, I had to always heat my food on the stove, which is quite inconvenient for me because I'm a soft babe. So when I got it, my life became very easy. So I think it's also not a need, but it's important to have. And if you have the finances, why not? Next thing is a kettle. Yes, my kettle is here. I have a very cute kettle, but I also don't think it's a need. It's a want, and it's like, okay, once you've been able to get all the important stuff, then you can get a kettle. But I don't think without it, you're going to die or something like that. It's not that deep. Okay, but a kettle also makes life easier. You can boil water for bathing and for tea and for other things. Now, storage containers. I know that everybody wants an aesthetic fridge, but I don't think it's a need. It's important. It makes your fridge very organized and very nice. I have a few storage containers I use, but I just bought them recently. I didn't buy them when I was starting and I was just buying things afresh. Absolutely not a need. It's not like if it's not there, you won't survive. Air fryer. I know that we live in the age where everybody has an air fryer. Everybody wants to have an air fryer. Air fryers are very convenient. They are very easy to use, very low maintenance, but you absolutely do not need them when you're starting out, building out your kitchen. Okay, as I said, there are more important things that you can use or get, and so I wouldn't want you to force yourself to get an air fryer because everyone has an air fryer. If you don't have a stove, if you don't have a fridge, if you don't have basic cookware, basic cutlery, basic bowls and plates, you have no business getting an air fryer. That money can go into getting the things that are important, and later on you can get the air fryer. Another thing is juicer. For someone that likes to live a healthy lifestyle, having a juicer is has been very game changing because I'm able to juice all my fruits and then have them without going to buy fizzy drinks all the time and all that. But you absolutely do not need it. If you don't want it, you don't need it. Like I don't want, I'm putting this episode together so that you don't buy things that will just stay on your counter and you don't use them because you don't do your research, you didn't know how it worked. And then the things that are important for you to get, you don't have them, but you have all these things sitting on your kitchen counter and you don't even use them. I don't want you to be that person.